Japanese television channels have long been known for producing countless reality shows that test the limits of human endurance, such as Takeshi's Castle and Hello Morning. We might already be familiar with this. However, Japan is also home to a reality show that can be considered the most horrifying in history, seemingly crossing the basic limits not only of a TV show, but also of human life. The show Susano Tenbon is one of the most insane and brutal reality shows, where a man was made to live naked for 15 months, enduring near starvation in a cramped room, sometimes eating dog food, and forced to play games of chance to earn food. In the end, he became so exhausted and mentally drained that he nearly went insane. The most cruel Japanese TV show, Susano Tenbon, aired on Nippon TV in Tokyo in 1998. It is a horrifying experience for both participants and viewers, primarily known for the extreme situations participants are placed in. These contestants, usually unknown comedians, face survival-like challenges in each season. Each season of Susano Tenbon had different games. One season, a contestant was stranded on an island, forced to build a raft, and spent 4 months trying to escape. Another season had a contestant hitchhiking from South Africa to Norway. Yet another season involved a contestant in a room watching his favorite baseball team. If the team won, he could eat. If they lost, he would go hungry, and the room's power would be cut off. Losing one game could mean the contestant might starve to death. One of the most famous contestants in the reality series was Tomoki Hamatsu, who appeared in Season 2 in 1998. First, the production selected unknown comedians to participate and gathered them in a room, where the director gave them an enigmatic message: all you need is luck. The draw for the prize was conducted, and the selected person that day was Tomoki Hamatsu, who was originally a cheerful and energetic person. He claims that his standard of happiness was very low, so he could easily be happy. However, he realized that when he could make those around him smile or feel happy, his happiness became greater and more significant, and his life became more worth living. Therefore, he chose to become a comedian and participate in the show to gain more recognition. After being selected, Tomoki Hamatsu was blindfolded by the producers and taken away in a car. Upon exiting the vehicle, he was led into a cramped apartment. As soon as the blindfold was removed, an unexpected scene unfolded before his eyes. A room filled with postcards, pens, a radio, a mini gas stove, a toilet, a bathtub, an air conditioner, and countless magazines piled on the table. Behind the camera, the producers instructed him to remove all his clothing, including his underwear, and required him to live in this sparsely furnished room. Tomoki Hamatsu's task in the room was to fill out prize draw entry forms daily. If he was lucky enough to win, they would notify him via phone, and the prize would be delivered directly to his room. The show would continue until the total amount of prize money reached 1 million yen. Additionally, shocking news was that Tomoki Hamatsu would not be provided with any other supplies during his participation. He had to find ways to survive on the rewards he received, regardless of what they were. This process was recorded and aired for about 8 to 10 minutes each week over the course of 15 months. At that time, the producers named Tomoki Hamatsu NATSUBI, which means eggplant in Japanese, because he would have to be naked. The producers also had to cover his private parts with a cartoon eggplant, and they mocked his face, which looked like an eggplant. The name NATSUBI became associated with him from that point onward. Now, NATSUBI's task was to fill out the prize entry forms to see if a person could survive solely on the rewards. Then, the crew installed surveillance cameras, microphones, and a few loaves of bread for Natsubi, and then disappeared. The game officially begins, and thus Natsubi will be faced with the challenge from a starting point of 0. Without any clothes or means of communication with the outside world, and nothing to do except for the magazines he has been introduced to in order to obtain prize draw entry forms. In the first hour, because he was not used to the new environment, Natsubi could not sit still. However, he later got to work writing postcards to participate in the lottery. During the first week, still shocked after his clothes were taken away, one of Natsubi's first goals was to obtain some clothes so that he wouldn't have to appear on television completely naked. He registered to win an apron, but ultimately did not win that prize. By the end of the week, hundreds of postcards had been sent out, but none received a response. There was only one phone call that was a wrong number. Knowing that food was very hard to come by, Natsubi only ate a little of the bread that was given to him initially and drank water, so he lost weight noticeably. By the second week, after eating all the initial bread, luck smiled upon him when he won a box of 12 types of nutritional jelly. Fearing a scarcity of food, Natsubi devised a meal plan to gradually stockpile. During this time, he also won a bicycle, which excited him for a short while before he quickly fell into a state of depression. What good is a bicycle to Natsubi when he has no clothes and can't even leave his room? He pedaled a few times and then placed it in the corner of the room. He continued his string of luck by excitedly showing the camera about the 5 kilograms of rice he had just won. It seemed that Natsubi would have a warm life, but difficulties arose when he had rice but couldn't cook it because he wasn't provided with a rice cooker. Undeterred, Natsubi tried everything to make do, from eating it raw to soaking it in water to expand into porridge, but none worked. Suddenly, an idea sparked in Natsubi's mind. He took the jelly box to use as a pot and added rice and water, turning on the stove. Finally, after hours of waiting, he succeeded. After a month of enduring with the little bread and food won from the first lottery, Natsubi was delighted to finally eat rice. In the first 2 months, he participated in the lottery over 5,748 times and only won 5 times. But all were cheap items. Thus, the journey to reach the goal of 1 million yen, approximately close to 6,500 USD, seemed very distant for him. Another difficulty for Natsubi was being trapped in a confined space without stepping outside into the world. This long period made him gradually lose his sanity and started showing strange behaviors. He talked to posters on the wall or tried to engage in lengthy conversations with any sales consultants who called his number to alleviate his boredom. However, thanks to his previous lucky wins, Natsubi gained more confidence and kept sending in more prize draw entries. He received many items like tents, cakes, and stuffed animals. And although the items were not extravagant and sometimes not useful, he still held hope and patiently continued to fill out the prize draw forms to quickly reach the goal of 1 million yen as the producers requested. In the 4th month, after 3 months without dental hygiene, he finally won a toothbrush set and used it. The following months, after running out of food, he survived day by day on dog food or snacks he could find. However, his greatest comfort at this time was that if he summed up the items he had won over the past few months, he had earned half of the required amount. The first item was a television, which could be said to be the most entertaining prize for Natsubi. But when he plugged it in, he realized the room had no cable or connections, so he couldn't watch much. Months later, he finally got a VHS tape and 2 blank tapes, followed by a PlayStation game console and a train simulation equipment. Natsubi played his new game console for 3 continuous days before realizing that writing letters took too much time, so he stored it along with all his other useless prizes. Then Natsubi received a pair of underwear, but it was too small for him. Next, he got a perfectly fitting pair of formal shoes, but they couldn't be used as he was alone in his room. Much later, he received a pair of Adidas sneakers that were too small. Suddenly, the production team opened the door and entered the room. They started blindfolding him and moving him to another place. When asked why, he was told that moving to a new place would have better feng shui so that he could win the game. He didn't know if there was good feng shui or not, but not being able to contact outsiders gradually made him go crazy. He often talked to animals or even stuffed bears because he considered them his most important friends. Additionally, he danced around like a child every time he showed off his newly received prize right in front of the camera. Gradually, he began to be unable to communicate with strangers, except for the doctor who came to check on his health regularly and the delivery staff. Finally, in December 1998, Natsubi achieved his goal of 1 million yen. After being informed of his victory, Natsubi was returned his clothes, blindfolded, and taken to a surprise location. Once there, they removed Natsubi's blindfold, and he saw that he was in Korea. At this moment, Natsubi was very happy because he believed he had received a special reward for a year of hard work. Thus, he was taken out by the producers for grilled meat, and enjoyed shopping at tourist spots without knowing that everything had not truly stopped yet. After satisfying all of Natsubi's desires, the production organization continued to blindfold him and led him to another room. Natsubi was astonished and speechless. They asked him to take off his clothes and continue the lottery with a pile of envelopes and magazines that had been piled up in the room. This time, the amount was not like before, but just enough to win the plane ticket back to Japan, which was 45,900 yen. After months of confinement, and with the experience he had accumulated, Natsubi had become a gaming master. In a record short time, he had collected enough of the required amount. Of course, the producers did not like this. They suddenly changed the flight to a business class ticket, costing 57,300 yen. Since winning the lottery was now as easy as eating candy for Natsubi, his freedom was increasing in value every day. The amount increased to 81,600 yen, approximately $547, and eventually became a first-class ticket from Seoul with a layover in Paris to Tokyo worth 944,400 yen, approximately $6,340. It was thought that Natsubi would give up with the producer's traps, but no, he managed to complete all of them. He could have flown back to Japan, but once again, he was taken to another remote apartment. Despairing and resigned, Natsubi began to take off all his clothes without instruction. Suddenly, the walls of the apartment collapsed, revealing that he was in a live television studio with many cheering audience members. They announced that he was the outstanding one who surpassed the challenges of the program and set the record for the longest survivor at 15 months through winning the lottery. Natsubi was very confused and shocked, his face blank, because he had always thought the show was not broadcasted. He was deceived. He was probably very surprised to know that the audience had been following him with great interest. Clearly, the producers had more than one lie regarding him. First, when the directors told him this was a recorded show. In reality, after each episode, his program was edited and aired on TV. Second, although the program was initially a simple reality show to serve the audience, it decided to profit from Natsubi, specifically sending him to travel to Korea was part of the producer's plan. They filmed him while he ate, and the footage was used as an advertisement for ramen. In addition, they published 2 books from his diary, selling 800,000 copies, and his videos sold 500,000 copies, generating huge revenue. Third, viewers often wondered how much was real and how much was staged in this program, and whether the prizes he received were genuinely his or partly arranged by the producers to develop the story as they wanted. Therefore, the producers decided to move Natsubi to a new space far from the original location to avoid affecting the filming. After moving him to the new room, the production team mobilized a live stream team of more than 50 people to start broadcasting his life 24/7 for all the viewers to follow. At that time, in 1998, when the internet was not widely known, the program broke records, becoming the most watched series in Japanese history, with a total of 17 million viewers every Sunday night. These people directly witnessed the life of a destroyed man, living to the minute and second of what was happening to him. Many questioned whether Natsubi really won dog food for tires and underwear without ever winning any real clothes. Because if the producers wanted, they could pretend Natsubi had won those items, or, conversely, withhold the items he should have won to create difficulties for him. However, it is almost certain that he did not receive any producer intervention, as seen in the videos where he appeared thinner, paler, and more bearded. Natsubi later revealed that he had thought about escaping many times, but because he was naked and had no clothes, he couldn't even run to the police for help. After Natsubi's incident, the program received a lot of criticism and had to stop airing in 2002. Not everything was bad. Natsubi later became a well-known figure, recognized by everyone. However, after the show ended, he went through a very difficult time. Although Natsubi was now dressed, he felt hot and sweaty during the first 6 months after the show and had difficulty conversing with those around him for a long time. Later on, he also participated in films, although he did not achieve the brilliant success he had hoped for as an actor. The experience from that bizarre show made him a role model for many people in society regarding perseverance in the face of life's difficulties. On March 11th, during the major earthquake in his hometown Fukushima, he participated in the challenge to climb Mount Everest for charity. After 3 failures in 2013, 2014, and 2015, on May 19th, 2016, he succeeded in conquering the highest peak in the world. He motivated everyone with the phrase, "Let's do our best." In April 2020, Natsubi appeared very positively in the media, trying to persuade people to cooperate with the stay-at-home order during the early days of the COVID-19 outbreak by citing his personal experience of self. Now, Natsubi is enjoying a comfortable life and is someone who always does charity work to help the community in his hometown Fukushima. While many justifiably criticize some reality TV shows as staged or fake, perhaps after such programs, viewers realize another aspect. The suffering that many participants must endure is completely real. Reality television can create some great content, but it can also harm the subjects being filmed in ways that should not happen, ultimately fostering harmful, brutal thoughts in the minds of viewers. Personally, I think imprisoning a person for such a long time perhaps goes far beyond the definition of entertainment. What do you think about this story? And try to imagine a little more. If there were a room with full amenities, but you could not go outside and only lived on lucky prize products, do you think you could survive?